Hi there, if you want to learn how to create sound effects, then you are in the right place. In this video, I'll be showing you how to create a sword impact sound effect from scratch. So that's right, I'm going to show you all the sounds that I recorded for this session, for this video, and then I'll bring everything into Reaper in my DAW, and then we'll go from there and design from there. And I'll be designing to a short clip from the video game Sekiro. So if you want to see that, stay tuned. That's what we're going to do next. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and the first thing you're going to want to do is to record some sounds. Now, I'm not going to go through and show you my entire recording process and editing process because I already did that in another video, so I'll link that in the cards above if you want to see all of that. But I'm just going to show you some of the sounds that I did record here. So you can see here, I have a bunch of different metal hits, and naturally, like what's going to work the best is usually going to be hitting some sort of long metal piece, thin, flat metal piece that kind of resembles a sword, right? So it would resonate in the same kind of way. But experiment with different things. So you can see here, I had dough hooks and dough rollers that were metal, serving spoons, large serving spoons, measuring spoons, stuff like that. Ones that did work really well were, long serving spoons and spatulas, metal spatulas that I had. So if I play it here. Right, you get these really nice ring out sounds, and it's really good to have these long sounds, long ring out sounds. And the way that I did that is I would attach them with either string or some sort of like something like duct tape, so that they were not in my hand. So I didn't want to have anything in my hand so that I would not dampen the ring out. So I would attach it with string and then put it on a pole or something so that I could hit it and it could resonate on its own. Right, so that was the key to doing these kind of ring outs. Have it not in your hand. Some metals will ring naturally in your hand, which is great, but most won't. So yeah, that's kind of a little tip there to get some really good ring out recordings. Now, once I had a bunch of those ring outs and even sounds that did not ring out, that were just like a blunt kind of hits, next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start layering them. Now, I'm going to use NVK Create to do this. You don't have to do that, but I'm just going to do it here just because it's going to be a lot faster. But if you want to do it manually, you can do it manually. And here you can see I have all of my sounds here in a folder. I'm going to do 8 layers here. Just hit it and see what we get in terms of sounds. All right, so that is done here. Now let's have a listen to some of these sounds so we have an idea of what we created here. Right, so some of them will not be at all close to a sword sound, but let's go through them and kind of discard the ones we don't need and keep the ones that might work here. All right, so this one might work here as a sword sound. So I'm going to bring this one over here. So let's have a listen again to the original here, just so I have context and idea of the kind of sound that we're going for here. So that's the sound we want. So it's kind of close, obviously not the same. Here, what we will probably want to do is start to add some sort of effects here. So on the group bus here, on the folder here at the top, I'm just going to add something like OTT. Might want to also add stuff like something like bass lane here to add some harmonics. Let's bring this in here. Let's have a listen. Maybe we want to add something like some saturation here. We want to be careful not to overdo it, especially at this stage here, just because it's not the final stage. It's not the design stage yet. So it's still a bit too much. Right, so I'm trying to keep all my effects pretty subtle. Okay, but I like that sound. So this is all raw recordings here that I had that I edited down, and I just imported onto here, layered together, and that's the sound I got, right? Okay, so that is good to me. So I think I could probably use this here. And let's keep going here. So let's see what other sounds we can get here. Yep, so I like that one. So I'm going to delete these here. Maybe bring that one out here. Okay. Oh yeah, so I really like that one there. But to me, that one sounds pretty good. So I'm just gonna grab that one right away because I already really like it. So let's bring it right into here. Let's line it up to the picture here. So you can see the impact is happening right around there where you get the brightness of the clash here. So let's line that up here. And let's just have a listen. So I'm just going to mute this up here. Right, so if we have a look at the what's making up the sound here, and it's probably mostly this one right here. Right, like I said here, I had a KitchenAid spatula attachment that was ringing out. That was one of the ones that I felt that I got a lot of really good results with. That's just a stand mixture spatula attachment. So, and it's not even it's like kind of like a paddle. It's not even like a long metal stick or anything, but it just had a really good resonant sound. So that is that one here. Well, let's see what else we have here. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the next thing I would do right now is I would probably want to have some sort of variation on these and start exporting them to a folder so I get multiple of these sounds. So right now I already have these 3 sounds that I kind of like that I think I would use in my design. So I want to export them so that they're all baked, like all layered together, baked into a sound, so I can just pull from them whenever I want to start layering things together. But for now, I already like this one specifically like this. So let's see if we can create some variations with this one, just so we can maybe use it with other segments in this redesign here. So I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna load NVK variation. To do this, I have a preset here where I have like 20 variations. I'm basically changing the pitch here a little bit. I'm changing up the volume and the tone here, which is basically like adding an EQ. Okay, so let's have a listen here to what that sounds like. Okay, yeah, one of the things I did forget to add here is a limiter, because right now I'm clipping way too much and it's too loud. So I'm just gonna add that in here. So let's have a listen now. All right, so those variations sounds great to me. Now, one of the things I do want to do is, one of the things that NVK variation can do is move, for every variation, it'll move the item to a new track. So what you can do with that is add different effects to each track so that every time it goes to a new track, you get a new kind of, a new variation, a new sound, even more so than if it was just pitching or anything. So I can add more variation by adding effects on specific tracks. So what I'm going to add here is, on each track is some like super light. Let's see here. I have individual effects here I like to use. So here I have like uber loud on one track. It's just at 20%. I'll maybe even bring it down a little bit because I really don't want to overdo it. Again, like I already like the sound. It's just to shift it up a little bit. So that's on the first track here. On the second track, maybe I'll do bass lane here. And you can see here, these are just presets I've already kind of done. So here it's at 2.5K. I also have a preset for bass lane. If I look over here on individual effects, I will have one for 400K. So at 400 Hertz. All right, so let's keep going here. Maybe I want to pitch something. So if I have rate pitch here, maybe I'll pitch it down a little bit here, like that. Maybe other ones, you might want to do something like multi-band processing. So I like to use multipass for this, like that. And what you could do here for these kind of effects is have audio follower. So I'm going to have 3 different audio followers for the 3 different bands here. So I want band 2, 3, and 4. Right, 2, 3, and 4 here. And now for each of these, so they're gonna apply to the effect. So I'm gonna apply the exact same effect to each of these. So let's say I have something like, let's say I have a non-linear filter. I'm just gonna put it flat here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this filter over to each of these bands. But now what I'm gonna do is I can modulate it based on the signal coming in. Let's modulate the cutoff. Let's have it go maybe up for this one. Actually, let's have it go down, because this is the low end, so I want to affect the low end. This one maybe is going to go down as well. Actually, let's start low and let's go up. And then this one here at the high end, let's have it start at the top here, and let's have it go down. Okay, and then maybe I can increase the Q here for that one. Increase the Q here for this one. Increase the Q for that one. Okay, so now each of these bands, it's going to take the incoming signal from that band, and then based on the signal, it's going to modulate the sounds for that band, specific band, right? So it's very band specific. So yeah, the sound's going to be different based on what's playing through that band. It's going to be affected by what's playing through that band. So let's have a listen. So everything's kind of low, so I might boost up the signals a little bit here. Maybe even bring it up here if I need it. So it's not so much the gain that I want to increase here, it's more the incoming gain from the bands. All right, but let's say that is one multi-band processing here. Now what I can do is I can also copy and paste that over to a new, I'm going to copy and paste that over to a new track here. But now I'm going to change out the effects. Instead of having something like a non-linear filter, maybe I'll have like a filter here where I can have like some sort of EQ sweep or an EQ move that's kind of boosting maybe certain frequencies. Okay, so here, maybe like that. Okay, so let's have it duck the top. Maybe boost the mids. And let's have that there. Let's have it boost the lows as well. All right, so just slightly going to change up the sound a little bit, not even too much. But there we go. That's how we can get extra variation to our sound. So they all sound a little bit different. Now let's do it for this one as well. Now I created a few presets here, so I'm just going to go quickly here just to add a few in. All right, so each track now has some sort of effect on it. So now when I run NVK variation again here, it's gonna all the items are gonna go to a new track 75% of the time, which is just gonna have more variation. All right, so now I have all of these new variations that I can use in my design here. All right, so let's have a look at where we're at. All right, so let's add some here. So I'm just gonna mark where our impacts are gonna be here. All right, and let's see if we can find some variations that fit in here. These might be a little bit too similar, but that is okay. Okay, so I think the variations are a bit too close in sound to use as variations for the 3 hits here. So I'm just gonna go through all the other ones here that I had created before and see if we can pick out some other ones. So there's nothing there. I also had created some other ones here from before I started this video here. So let's see what I have. All right, so I have these 3 sounds picked out here. It's not super well refined, but I think I can work with that. So here's what I have so far. Okay, so I really have to control the tails because some of them are way too long and just don't make sense in the context here. Right, they just ring past beyond the first hit, which I don't really want because the first hit here is pretty short. So you kind of have to, so I'm still using a variation here that I created from before, from our other variations, but now I'm playing around with a tail and I'm controlling the tails here so that I don't, yeah, so that they're just shorter hits, right? And so that they don't ring out past when the hit is, right? So I don't want it to hear the ring of the second hit or the first hit when I'm hitting when we have the third hit here. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't happen in real life like that. So that is a little bit better to me. So let's have a listen here. Right, even this last one here, the last hit, is a bit much. So it sounds okay, but it's a bit much here. So so I think it's this one here. And just bring it in. And also you want to make sure that the layers kind of blend together, that you don't have one that's kind of sticking out over the other. So right now I hear this, I think it's this one. No. I think it's this one. It sounds like the high frequency is just ringing out more than the rest of it. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but okay. So again, this one here, for this first hit, I want to make sure that it's done by the time this other hit comes in here. And right now it's just ringing out, which is not good. Again. Okay. Now let's have a listen. All right, so for just the sword parts, this is pretty good. Now, what I would do and keep doing here is, this is just my first iteration. Like, as you can see here, I only created some variations. I went through everything here, but I could have, again, gone here, replaced all the sounds, and hear what other combinations I could have gotten out of it. So I think it's okay for a first go. Now, what I would do is export these in their individual files so that I can put all my designed, like, layered files together in a folder. And then I can kind of call them back later to start designing. So this is like one layer here. This here would be one layer of a sound, but then I would have multiple of these kind of designed layers, and I would put them together to create an even more impactful sound. Now, for this specific redesign too, there's a lot more going on in terms of like Foley and impacts and hits. It's not just the sword hit. That's why this one sounds quite a bit different. The original here from the game sounds different from mine, but that's what I would do here to start. All right, so I think I'm pretty happy with these sounds here. Let's just have a listen. So I'm pretty happy with these sword sounds. They sound pretty clean and they're clean and ringing out. Now, of course, if for this redesign, there's a lot more going on in terms of like Foley and impacts and stuff like that. So, but for the metal portions of the sound, this is what I would do. Again, I would experiment. I encourage you to do the same as well, like experiment with other combinations of sound. Like, this was just my first go at layering these sounds together and in terms of adding effects and stuff. But I would probably, keep on experimenting and keep on repeating this kind of process so I can kind of practice and experiment with different sounds and layers and things that I can put together to get these sounds. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with what I have here for a first go. All right, just a few extra little tips here. This might be useful perhaps depending on the style that you're going for here. For this kind of redesign, I was going for like very clean sword type of impact sounds. Now, if you don't want that, so for example, for this one right here, like, it's a very clean sound, not necessarily stylistic or what you might be going for in a game. So what you could do to kind of match what's the original here. So if I listen to the original, right, you can see there's a bit of effects going on. So I kind of experiment a little bit, see if I can kind of replicate that. I think I could get something kind of similar with Argot Lunar. This is a free plugin, by the way. It's just a granular effect. So if we play it, right, you can hear it kind of shimmer a little bit. So I brought the mix quite a bit down here to about 22%. Grains I increased to 17. And that's pretty much it. I didn't really touch anything else from the default settings. Right, so you kind of have this little shimmer, like the blade is really uneven, or like it's kind of, like it's just been hit. Now, another thing you could do here if you don't want that specific effect is I found a chorus that was pretty good. So if I play this, so if I play it up, so if I play it full, like with a full mix, it sounds like this. Right, you can kind of hear wobble or ring. Right, so it's kind of giving the sound of that. Like when a metal hits another piece of metal, it kind of vibrates or pulses a little bit. This is kind of emulating that, right? So I'm kind of doing it digitally rather than naturally in the recording, right? So it kind of really brings it out even more so than if it was just the natural recording, right? So, and then I just brought down the mix a little bit here, so it's not too in your face. Okay, so I did that with a few of these impacts here. You can see I have Argot Lunar and Chorus. Same thing for here and here. So if you listen to that in context here now, right, and of course I added a few impacts here, swings, And this is the sound you get, right? So it's not as clean as before. So if we take it off, so you can hear the difference of how clean it was before. Right, so this is it clean. Right, which is okay. Could be what you're going for. Obviously, depends, like I said, on the style and what and your goals here. Just gonna add these back in so we can compare. All right, so I hope you found that useful and valuable and just seeing my process and how I'm thinking about sounds, how I'm creating them. Of course, experiment. That's the best way to learn and to figure out how to create your own sound effects. But hopefully you learned something by watching this video. Now, if you don't have a nice professional field recorder or handheld recorder, or you don't have anything to record your own sounds, or you just don't want to record your own sounds, maybe you just want to grab sounds that are already ready, I have a whole library of sounds you can get at a really nice discounted price on a subscription plan. You can find that. I'll have a link in the description below. You'll basically get all the sounds I've ever created in all of my sound packs. Or if a subscription is not a thing that you like, it's not your thing, you can also just do a buyout, or you can buy individual sound effects, sound packs. So I'll have links in the description below if you want to support me and my channel. That's a great way to do it. And if not, no worries. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. If you have any questions, of course, leave it down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.